Here is our practice activity lesson in the topic of hobbies and interests. And we're going to be looking at some skill-focused activities from lessons earlier in this module. And I think it's fair to say that the English language skills that we've been learning over the last few lessons have been really important for boosting our overall fluency. So in these practice activities, I'm really going to try and push you to create and use, obviously, within language and speaking. So let's begin with activity 1. Try saying the following vowel sounds in each sentence below. So I'm going to give you a few different examples of in each sentence. And I'd like you to just have a couple of minutes practicing saying these sentences. Try and mimic my expression. Of course, here is the phonetic alphabet, and this is the sound that we're concentrating on. Part, So open mouth, tongue down and to the back. The dentist sound. Okay, first sentence. Which part of the jigsaw can't you find? Which part of the jigsaw can't you find? I hardly ever get to drive a car these days. I hardly ever get to drive a car these days. Mark recently started snowboarding. Mark recently started snowboarding. And the last one. I'd love to be an architect in the future. Architect. Okay, so just 4 examples of some interesting short structures that would easily be used within speaking. That include this long sound. So just have 2 minutes and just have a go at saying these sentences out loud. And we'll start now. And that is the end of our 2-minute time limit for activity 1. And I think it's about time that we jump into activity 2. So here are some examples of complex and compound sentences. 2 types of sentence structure within English language. I'm going to show you some examples and I would like you to create some of your own and practice saying them out loud. So I'm going to do 2 complex and 2 compound. Let's take a look at the first example sentence. Whether you like it or not, running is a great form of exercise. So remember, a complex sentence is a dependent and an independent clause joined with a comma. So we can see in this example, whether you like it or not, comma, this is a dependent clause. It doesn't work on its own. The second part, running is a great form of exercise. That's an independent clause. That could be a full sentence on its own. So here's a nice example of a complex sentence beginning with a dependent clause. Whether you like it or not, running is a great form of exercise. Okay, example 2. When I was only an infant, I got lost on a shopping trip in Sheffield. So you can see that I made a big pause there to split the initial, the first dependent clause, and the independent clause at the end. When I was only an infant, I got lost on a shopping trip in Sheffield. And that is also true. So there we have our dependent clause at the start, independent to make our complex sentence. Obviously, our focus is on English speaking. However, when you are writing these, do remember to include the comma between the dependent and independent clauses. That's really important in terms of fluency. Okay, let's take a look at a compound sentence. I would have never started singing, but my school is big on drama. I would have never started singing, but my school is big on drama. So we have two independent clauses, halved, split in the middle by a connective but. My favourite book is Crime and Punishment, although I don't read that often these days. And another example of an interesting compound sentence. And we really do need an understanding of some connectives too. And here's just a short list of a few connectives you can use. So you can mimic, you can innovate my examples and change them slightly. That's what I would recommend. Or you could do something completely different, completely off topic for what I have shown. And I would suggest trying two complex and two compound and use a range of connectives below. I would also ask that maybe you post a few of these in the Q&A section at the end of the lesson. Okay, 2 minutes. If you need longer, of course, please do pause the video. 2 minutes starting now. And your 2-minute time limit is up. Okay, I hope that you managed to get some good examples written down and you had a go at saying them out loud too. Post a few examples of these sentence types within our Q&A section at the end of the video. Okay, activity 3. Create 4 examples of sentences using the past perfect. So I want you to just note 4 examples down and practice saying them out loud. Okay, so the past perfect. An event in the past that happened before another action. And here is how we do that. Subject plus had plus the past participle plus the rest of the sentence. And here are a few examples. She had slept from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. before going to work. And it's also worth saying here that we can contract the subject and the auxiliary verb had. She'd slept. Although that's more for our fluency within speaking. You don't have to contract within these examples unless you want to. She had slept from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. before going to work. They had considered moving into a townhouse before an apartment. We had enrolled into a painting club, then took a graffiti class too. After I had showered, I got ready to go to work. Okay, 4 examples of sentences using the past perfect. So have a go at creating a few of your own, practice saying them out loud of course, and your 2 minutes starts now. And there is your 2 minutes up. So I hope that you managed to get some examples down. It's good practice at putting these skills into use. Okay, activity 4, in a very similar fashion, create 4 examples of sentences using the present perfect. And we make the present perfect by subject plus has plus have plus been with the verb ing. So this is something that happened in the past and is still happening now, an action that we have been doing and still are for quite some time. Here are a few examples. She has been resting for the whole weekend. Normally, the audience have been registering at around 3 million. I have been thinking about going on a short trip soon. My mum has been gardening at home since I remember. Okay, so create your own examples using the present perfect, and 2 minutes starts now. And our time limit is here. So I hope you've enjoyed using these structures, the present perfect. Of course, if you want to post a few within the Q&A section, then please do that. Okay, our final activity, activity 5. Using the phrases below, create some sentences and practice speaking them out loud. And here are these expressions that we were recently looking at. Love it. Love it. Given it up. Lost interest. I'm game. What sort of things are you into? Okay, so here are a few examples. I enjoyed 3D printing last year, but I've given it up now. I've just taken a course on photography and I love it. So, how about you? What sort of things are you into? Okay, so just have 2 minutes. You don't have to write things down here. You can just practice speaking with these expressions, and 2 minutes starts now. Your 2 minutes are up. Okay, I hope that you had some good speaking practice there using these super useful colloquial expressions. Okay, so that's the end of the practice activities. I hope that you managed to apply some of these super useful English language skills, and I will see you in the next lesson.